Gentlemen, welcome back to HTF Bets. We are live as part of the Hitting the Field network. I'm your host, Tyler Caron. Today we have a really packed show for you. We're going to go over NFL since we're kicking off tonight with Cowboys and Bucks. We're going to dive into a little bit about fantasy and then, of course, go to our university, the University of Central Florida, and talk about their matchup coming up this week. HTF Bets is live and it starts now. Welcome back to HTF Bets. As I already said, I am Tyler Caron, and joining me today, as always, is Riley Sheppard. And for the first time back in studio, our other co-host of HTF Bets for the rest of the year, Okelo Pena. Okelo, it's been forever since you've been around here. How was your summer, and how excited are you for HTF Bets this season?
First off, my summer was pretty great. Thanks for asking. I mean, man, to get bets in the studio, this is a great feeling. I know Nick and Rob are probably watching somewhere today. They're definitely, I know, pretty jazzed about it. I'm just ready to go for season 3, man. This is the most pumped up I've ever been, and I'm really excited. We got NFL, we got college football back, race to the playoffs for MLB is here. This is the best time to feel again, and it's a great feeling.
And absolutely, and we'll be going over all sports throughout this semester. Today, focusing just on football. And with that, I'm going to kick it into the Cowboys and the Bucks, who kick off tonight. I'm going to go over to our guest analyst on the show today, Grant Wheeler. What are your thoughts on the game tonight, specifically with the 7.5-point spread in the Bucks' favor?
The talent level is a big difference here. The Bucks are superior in almost every way, especially offensively. The Bucks are going to easily beat the spread, win by 14, probably 34-20, 31-17. Their team is glued together. Yes, they had to work on chemistry last year. They no longer have to work on that. All they have to focus on now is just executing and staying healthy. And the Cowboys' defense is just not good enough to stop that Bucks offense.
Yeah, I think that the Bucks are going to be rolling. There's no question about that. Okelo, what about your thoughts about this game tonight and with the Cowboys' offense and defense firepower compared to the Cowboys, who may not be completely healthy?
Well, listen, everybody that knows me, Tyler, knows that I can't stand those Dallas Cowboys. Look, it doesn't matter if they get Micah Parsons, Julia Parsons, or even Robin Parsons. That defense doesn't do anything. And I know Grant said he was expecting at least like a 14-point. I wouldn't be surprised if the Buccaneers score 40 points, because I know that Dallas defense absolutely stinks. And look, the competition on offense, I know Dak Prescott, we're all excited about him. We think he's going to be comeback player of the year. But I'm not going to lie, I didn't see anything of the preseason. Those injuries kind of question mark me. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys passing game doesn't get off the ground tonight and it really confidence struggle. They may even get shut out in the first half just based on that. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott, I haven't seen enough of him. I still think fumbleitis from Hard Knocks has been a bit of a problem still. And like I said, I'm just not impressed enough from Dallas to even conceivably not only win this game, but in addition, be also competent to compete in the NFC East.
Yeah, absolutely. And the cool thing about the Cowboys kicking off the season tonight against the Bucks is that they are the Hard Knocks team. So like you said, with Ezekiel Elliott and the fumble issue, you see he's been wearing the sleeves. With Dak's injuries, we've gotten inside access on that stuff. So sounds to me like you're going with the 7.5-point spread.
Well, like I said, Grant said it. I wouldn't be surprised if they break the double-digit barrier, because how many times do I have to learn, or does the world have to know, you never bet against Tom Brady? And even if you do bet against him, bet your house on him, because he always delivers, and he is a guarantee.
Grant, we're going to go back over to you. What do you think your final score prediction is here tonight?
So as I said earlier, I think the Bucks are going to easily beat the spread, win by 14, 34-20, or 31-17. I'm going to go 34-20. I think the Bucks will get a couple touchdowns and a field goal. The Cowboys defense is just too much to overcome against that Bucks offense.
Got you. All right, so we're going to move on. Actually, Riley, I'm going to kick it off for you. We're going to go through our picks for the opening weekend of NFL football, starting with the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Houston Texans. Riley, Jacksonville is favored by 2.5 points. Does Trevor Lawrence come out week 1 and get things rolling for the Jags?
The Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence could not have asked for a better week 1 matchup. I'm taking the Jacksonville Jaguars 17-10. It's not going to be a pretty game, but the Jags are going to take it.
70-10 was mine as well, and I think the Jags do win. Not
minds
pretty.
think
It's going to be a
alike.
lot of turnovers. It's going to be a gross game with the two of the worst teams in the league. Okelo.
Oh yeah, that's easy to say, but I wouldn't be surprised if Trevor Lawrence gets going early. I actually think it's going to be a 24-3 type of game, just based on the fact that even though the Texans look pretty impressive, I mean, and again, it's preseason. You're not going to see much of everybody getting going. I'm interested to see how the offense performs with Tyrod Taylor at quarterback, but I'm not confident in that defense, and I think Trevor Lawrence, this will be like playing NC State for him, honestly, in this game. So I think that Trevor Lawrence is going to come out and have a decent enough field day.
Okay. And Grant, what about you? Does that Tyrod Taylor-led Houston Texans, do they compete with Jacksonville?
No, I don't see them competing at all. Just that entire franchise right now is just a disaster. Jacksonville's not good either, but they're still better than Houston Texans. I know Trevor Lawrence in the preseason got beat up, and the Jags O-line's very questionable, but they should do just enough to escape Houston and win 17-13.
All right. So moving on to the next game, we're going to go to the Washington football team at home going against the Chargers, who are the 1-point favorite on the road. Okelo, what do you see from this matchup here in the 1-point favorite?
I think Washington goes and gets the upset. Like this is going to be the toughest test Justin Herbert has faced in his young career. And you're going to go against your draft classmate Chase Young, the rookie reigning defensive player of the year, who I think is going to compete as well for the DPOY this year. Look, it's the first game of the season. Washington always performs well. And Riverboat Ron, man, I got to take him on that to win the game. And Fitzmagic always starts off the season pretty well.
And unfortunately, me and Okelo are agreeing a lot so far today. That wasn't something I was anticipating. We're just off to a rough start. We'll get caught up here. But I agree. I think it's going to be the Washington football team in a nail-biter. Riley?
I'm going to also take the Washington football team. I hate that I have to agree with you guys on these first two picks, but I think Fitzmagic is going to have a lot of tricks up his sleeve, and I think he has a lot of talent surrounding him, and I'm going to take the Washington football team 28-21.
And Grant, coming over to you, do you agree with all of us, or do you have a different insight?
Yeah, I agree. Not only will Washington's defense help the football team prevail, but Fitzmagic always goes off early in the season. He always puts up crazy stats. So I'm going to go with the football team 35-27.
All right, and now moving on to the next game, Seattle Seahawks, 2.5-point favorites in Indianapolis. Riley, what are your thoughts about this game?
I think that the Colts are actually going to upset them. It's going to be a defensive-minded game. It's going to be low scoring. I'm going to take the Colts 17-14.
Riley, are you out of your mind, man? It's Russell Wilson in the first game of the season. No disrespect, Grant, but Carson Wentz and no Quentin Nelson. Granted, I think the defense is absolutely fantastic, but Riley, I think you're smoking something weird this morning, man. Like, you are really going to take away from Russell Wilson? No, Seahawks are going to win, and they're going to win 34-17, guaranteed.
Easily, Grant, you can be the deciding factor here. Do you agree with Riley or Okelo?
Okelo, did you say Carson Wentz and Quentin Nelson aren't playing? They are playing. They're ruled for week 1. They're ready to go.
I wouldn't be surprised if Carson Wentz gets hurt.
Literally
the minute he takes the first
with
snap,
his history, yes. But no, I think the Colts are going to finally break their curse. They haven't won a week 1 game since 2013. It's finally time to win opening week. They're at home. Defense is top 5. The running game, top 5. Wentz is looking to, reprove himself. The O-line is stout. Yes, there's a question at left tackle because Eric Fisher's still out right now, but he'll be back soon. I think the Colts are going to prevail and win 24-23.
That's my guest analyst.
No.
I think some of y'all need to be drug tested for that.
Absolutely not. You are going to bet against MVP. We've seen how Russell Westbrook, switching up the basketball, Russell Wilson plays in the beginning of the season. Last year he was on track for MVP. I think he takes that track again, and it's not even going to be a close game. It's going to be a blowout. The Seahawks are going to overcome that Colts defense. Going on to one of the more interesting games, I think, this week, Arizona Cardinals at Tennessee Titans. The Titans are a 3-point favorite. Grant, what are your thoughts about this game?
Yeah, so Kyler Murray entering year 3, it's big for him. He's got to really prove himself because the first 2 years he progressed, but he's really got to progress this year. Getting off to a good start against Tennessee, against a playoff team last year on the road in Nashville. I like to see the Cardinals win. I really do, but I'm going to go with Tennessee. Derrick Henry in that offense.
Oh, my God.
It's going to be tough for that Cardinals defense to stop them, so we'll go with the Titans.
I'll let one of you guys take it.
Grant, I love you. But I don't know why Johnny let you on the show. You need to be drug tested. Are you kidding me? That the fact that you think that the Tennessee Titans are going to be able to beat the Arizona Cardinals with Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, they have the offensive talent. They got Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt on defense. Are you out of your mind?
Well,
Cardinals
here's the thing, Okelo. I'm not a Titans fan. They're in my division. I really hope they lose, but I'm just being realistic. That Titans offense is going to be tough to stop. It's going to be a high-scoring game. It's going to be a shootout. It's basically whoever has the ball last in that game will win.
So you're going to take Derrick Henry on a goal line stance against J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt will
J.J. Watt's, dude, he's regressing. He's getting old. He's not the same player he once was.
All right, we can go at this all day. We love the different opinions, but we're going to have to cut to commercial. Thank you, Grant, for coming on to the show today. And stick with us. We'll be right back with some fantasy football.
Here's the story of a show creator who was gearing up to form a bigger crew. One's a California guy,
A god of graphics.
One hosted Girls on Deck.
It's a story of a 4-year nightmare, which is finally coming to an end. Thank God.
And the new kid, a Packers lover.
Tampa forever. So then one day all these people work together to face a year unlike one that's ever been. And his group rebranded in Orlando. That's the way we all became HTFN. 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 That's the way we became HTFN. That's blasphemy!
Welcome back to HTF Bets. We're going to start now with fantasy football. As we went over last week in the show, all of the hosts of HTFN are in our league together, and the stage is set. The teams are here after our draft this weekend. So since Okelo is just joining us for the first time in studio here today, we're going to kick it over to him to tell us what his top 5 picks were in this year's draft.
Tyler, thank you so much. This year for HTF Fantasy, a lot last year for me went a lot of downhill. Maybe it was the thing of 2020 or something, but I'm going to tell you this. I didn't auto-draft this year, and I took it personally. Even though Austin should have made me the #1 overall pick, I'm glad that I did, because now, especially when I beat Hannah Joe this week, I got my picks for it. Let's start off first with Derrick Henry, the 2-time NFL rushing champion, who's about to break 2,000 yards again. I think that this was a no-brainer for me. Running backs are an essential in the draft, and like I said, I couldn't ask for anybody better. Now, the 2,000-yard curse, Smart, that's the questionable part, but I have no qualms because Mike Vrabel loves feeding Derrick Henry. Let me go to my receiver, man. Stephon Diggs. Is there anything else that needed to be said? I've had him before on a fantasy championship league of record back in 2018. But little did I know that him going to Buffalo literally drove him from a top 15 to a literal top 3 fantasy wide receiver. I'm super excited to have Stephon Diggs. Well, I know week 1 he's going to tear up my Steelers secondary defense, but that's all good, because I need to beat Hannah Joe. Then give me James Robinson, and this one to me was my favorite pick of all. I literally said on draft night the Jaguars wasted a pick on Travis Etienne when this guy right here, James Robinson, was literally the man, the myth, the man in the backfield who went for 1,000 yards, and he tore it up. He's going to do the same thing again and be that cushion for Trevor Lawrence in terms of passing and run catching. And then, of course, I got Chris Godwin, baby. Now a full year with TB12. He's going to be part of the reason why I get a good start on Hannah Joe tonight. And then lastly, of course, the GOAT, Aaron Rodgers, because why? It is the last dance for Aaron Rodgers, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets his 4th MVP, getting it out, because he's going to help the Packers potentially get to the Super Bowl, but I know he's going to win me my fantasy championship. And those are my top 5 picks, Tyler. I just can't wait to finally break 0-9 and show you all that I am the best fantasy coach, manager out here.
Well, yeah, to 0-9, that's just to call you to say that you're going to be the best fantasy football coach out here after an 0-9 season. That's a big statement, Okelo, but you're known for your big statements. Sometimes they're really right, sometimes they're really wrong most of the time. Riley, I want you to break it down, Okelo's top 5 picks and your thoughts on them.
See, I wasn't even involved in a fantasy last year, but I still heard that Okelo started the season 0-9. And see, I'll give it to you. You did watch the show last week and listen to us when we were saying James Robinson is going to be a steal. I'll give you that. but you didn't listen to me and Tyler's number one advice, and that's to not reach for a quarterback, which you did. You fell for the trap. You saw Patty Mahomes go, and you reached for Aaron Rodgers when you could have gotten an equally as good quarterback in the 7th or 6th round.
Let me tell you something. I was supposed to get Josh Allen, but I'm going to make a trade. But it's okay because Aaron Rodgers was the guy that helped me break out of. I could have gone as winless as even Jeff's Cleveland Browns last year if I did not have my quarterback, which I stole away from Rob. So, Rob, thank you so much. But I believe, and I promise you this, Aaron Rodgers will get me the points that I need. He's been my buffer for a lot of leagues of records that I have. And even though I reached, granted, I could have waited in the later round. I need to win because it is revenge season, and I'm taking it personally.
But although, yes, Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback, you passed up on Russell Wilson, who is going to have a better fantasy season this year than Aaron Rodgers.
Go.
You have it right here first on HTF Bets. Russell Wilson will be a better fantasy quarterback this year than Aaron Rodgers. Okay,
I will agree with that one, but there's one person that's going to trump all of them, and that's the man that doesn't believe in father time. That's Tom Brady. You've heard all the preseason rumors that he's going to be better this season than ever, and I agree. And guess what round I got him in? I got him in the 7th round, which was 2 rounds later than you could have, and he's going to break the passing record this year. He's going to break Drew Brees' record this year.
Second half of the season slump. That's what you guys don't understand. Y'all thinking about this in the short term for the first half of the season. I'm playing this game. This is checkers, not chess, man. And I tell you what, I'm about to be able to get all the points I need. You dig?
Old man Aaron Rodgers going to have a full 17-week season of fantasy football. Hey, I'd hope to see it. I like Rodgers. I just like Russell Wilson more this year in fantasy. The other thing that I was really surprised by your picks, Okelo, was Stephon Diggs in the 2nd round. I had no problem with that. Stephon Diggs is a 2nd-round talent this year. But you have DeAndre Hopkins still on the board when you are picking. And you mentioned how who would have known Stephon Diggs going to Buffalo would raise his draft stock so high to be a top 3 fantasy receiver. How about DeAndre Hopkins, who has been a top 3 fantasy receiver?
So here's my thought process on that, because Kyler Murray has many mouths to feed in that Arizona offense. He has A.J. Green, he has Rondale Moore. Granted, DeAndre Hopkins is a fantastic receiver, but, I mean, when you have that many mouths to feed, and even though you're supposed to be the number 1 guy, I know that Stephon Diggs will not have a lag in games. DeAndre Hopkins last year, he would have his highest of high games, and then he would have his really incredible lowest of low games. At Stephon Diggs, he was a consistent peak throughout the season, and like I said, he has one of the best route running ability in the league. DeAndre Hopkins has the best hands, but if I'm talking speed and the yak, that's especially what a lot of fantasy owners tend to overlook. It's the yak. The yak, yards after catch, and Stephon Diggs brings it up, baby. That's what makes him, in my opinion, a little better than DeAndre Hopkins this year.
Now, I can agree with you on that with what you said. However, I still am going with my gut of DeAndre Hopkins is the better fantasy receiver than Stephon Diggs. But you did make some good points there, okay? I will give you that.
I'll just say he's not that guy, pal. Trust me, he's not that guy.
He's not that guy. All right, well, we're going to keep you updated throughout the season on who is the best fantasy football coach at HTFN. We're going to show you our matchups for week 1, starting with your two of the co-hosts of HTF Bets, myself and Riley Sheppard. It's not even going to be close. Riley, you're going to get blown out of the water with your Tom Brady in the 7th round and Jonathan Taylor at pick 5. It's not even going to be close. Then we got Caleb Burge going up against Olivio, Rodrigo, Blankenship, our executive producer of HTF, Johnny Jackson. Going on, we have the bye week, who is coached by Alex Funderburk of HTF Main Show, going against the full senders of Austin Walker, not Alex Walker, not the Battle of the Alexes. Okelo, I mentioned earlier, you will be going up against Hannah Joe and the Orlando Cutie Pies. Hannah Joe is the last-minute addition to the league. We're very happy to have her with all the great work she's done on the vlogs. And then the last matchup that we have will be Ross Bernstein with the flex on the plebeians. Still not sure exactly how to say that properly. We're working on it. Going up against Juju's dance team of Kyle DeWitt from nighttime. So those are our first week matchups. That's going to be all for our fantasy football segment of HTF Bets this week. But stay with us. We'll be right back to dive into UCF football this weekend against Bethune-Cookman.
I'm in charge of the meeting this week. So you know what we're going to talk about? Basketball. The second thing we're going to talk about this week is basketball. Okay? And the third and last thing we're going to talk about is basketball.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. I want to quit. Can I quit? Take that.
Look at the screen. What are we talking about this week?
Basketball.
Welcome back to HTF Bets. We are going to be diving in now to the UCF football game this weekend against Bethune-Cookman. There have not been any official lines, spreads, odds, player props announced for this weekend's game on Saturday. So we're just going to kind of talk about where we see the spread and how much UCF may win or lose by, as well as how their players will perform. So Riley, what are your thoughts? Is it going to be a massacre out there this week?
It's not even going to be close. Bethune-Cookman has not played a football game before last week since 2019, which they ended up winning against Florida A&M in 2019 by 31-27, and we beat Florida A&M that year 63-0. This is not going to be close. 49-3.
49-3. Okelo, too much of a spread there? Too much trust in that UCF defense, or is it just about right?
Nah, it's just about right. I mean, Riley has it down pat. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if this turns out to be Florida A&M again, where we win 63-0. This is going to be Dylan Gabriel's really show-out game that'll get him back on track. And honestly, I have complete confidence in the defense. I think Gus Malzahn is implementing something that it's going to take some time to overcome. I mean, it was the same thing at Auburn. So, once I think this will be the game that the defense gets right, be able to understand the system a heck of a lot better than Randy Shannon. And I promise you that that UCF is going to, beat the crap out of them extensively.
I think that there were definitely some questionable defensive strategies last week for Boise, giving up a lot of short passes to protect the sticks. But moving on, I do think that it will be a blowout with that, but I don't think it's going to be. Bethune-Cookman will score at least 2 touchdowns. I think
2 touchdowns?
They will score. I'm not that confident. I am not that confident. I'm not that confident.
No, Tyler, no.
We give them all the 5-yard routes. They can get down the field.
Why are you frustrating me, man? Do you have that lack of confidence in UCF?
Absolutely.
That they will give up 2 touchdowns? Are you out of your mind?
Because we saw it last week, although it was, again, Boise State and Bethune-Cookman. That's a big drop-off there. But I still think that UCF, especially once they are beating Bethune-Cookman so badly, when they start to put in those,
they're just going to get the garbage time touchdowns.
I think that that's a possibility. But what I'm saying is when it comes to betting and spreads, because that spread is going to be huge, I think that UCF could give up some garbage time touchdowns that make them beat the spread. UCF is 2-8 in their last 10 against the spread.
Man, where's an aspirin when you need it? Because I just
No.
got a headache thinking about how blasphemous that statement was. That you will really think that Bethune-Cookman will get 2 touchdowns?
2 touchdowns. They could be very well could be garbage time. I'm not ruling that out. But thinking with the spread, that's where although the spread isn't officially out, you have to be careful.
They have so much to prove this week. After almost losing last week's game, that they are going to prove themselves that they are a top 25 team. And the AP poll needs to see a big-time blowout to see that. And UCF is going to prove that this week, 49-3. They're not giving up more than 10.
They should have been in the poll over Miami and North Carolina, knowing how disgusting that their losses were, especially Miami.
But that's against Alabama. that Alabama that's just a different level.
I do agree. I do agree with you on that one.
Look,
I do agree with you on that one.
At my job, I told people who were buying UM gear, you're gonna return that because they're gonna get beat by 40. Okay. So, and I'm surprised people still kept their Miami gear after that. I would have never. I would have been like Devontae Smith, 31.
Yeah, no, and I'm still caught up on that statement. With UCF just barely squeaking by with a terrible first half, we can all agree on that. A terrible first quarter, down 21-0, and they did get things going. You kind of saw that, but I think that the respect that they got with the couple top 25 votes was pretty accurate, and I do think it'll take a blowout with Bethune-Cookman to get them more respect and to get them more votes. But again, I just don't know if I see it after Bethune-Cookman. I want to dive into some of the exact player props. One of the things that really stood out to me last weekend was Isaiah Bowser. Had 32 rushes, 170 yards. The last UCF running back to have 30 touches and rush for 100 yards was Bryn Harvey in 2009.
Really? Not even Latavius Murray could have cracked
Not even
that.
Latavius Murray. And UCF, and that's again with 30-plus touches, because no running back at UCF gets 30-plus touches. We always have 4 running backs that are always getting the ball. And with Bentavious Thompson stepping away from the team for this year and no longer on roster,
along with Johnny Richardson as well.
Right. So that leads me into my next one. Again, no official player props. 25.5 carries, 110 yards. Over or under?
I say under because I think it's going to be such a blowout in the first half that they're going to bench DG and Isaiah Bowser in the second half. So I think he's going to be under, but he's still going to have a great game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be under as well because I think they really want the offense to air it out. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Isaiah Bowser gets 100 by the first half because Gus Malzahn loves these types of running back. Cameron Petway, he had it with Trey Mason. He had it with Kerryon Johnson. He likes the bowling ball type of motor running back. And I think he's getting that out of Isaiah Bowser right now, and I wouldn't be surprised. It's a big key for UCF to win a lot of games this year.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. I think Isaiah Bowser is going to be huge for UCF in the offense this year. I also think under. I think Johnny Richardson is going to get a lot more touches than what he did last game and kind of see what the young underclassmen can do. So moving into the last part of HTF Bets, the new addition to the show this year, it is your surefire bet of the week. This is a bet that you have to take. It is 100% not going to lose. And one of us last week won ours, and one of us lost ours. Riley picked for Dylan Gabriel to go for 315 yards. He was, or 325 yards. He was 7 yards short.
You couldn't have gotten me 7 more yards, man. Come on.
And I told you to take Army money line, which was a success. So as the 1-0 leader, undefeated leader right now, I will go first. I have Coastal Carolina to beat Kansas, and with the spread of 25.5. Coastal Carolina beat down on the Citadel last week, 52-14. Now, it is the Citadel, but it's also Kansas. Kansas football it's a joke. They're known for basketball, going back to the Baker Mayfield days. It's not even going to be close. Grayson McCall is going to throw for 5 touchdowns. Javon Halai will throw for 2. It's not even going to be close. What are your guys' surefire pick of the week to lock in for this week?
Well, for me, since it's my first one, Tyler, I'm going to go, shout out to my dad, I'm going to go Texas at -7 over Arkansas. Hook 'em, baby.
All right. Riley?
In Kansas City against the Cleveland Browns, they are not going to clear the spread. It's going to be 31-28. Kansas City will still win, will not clear the spread.
All right, and those are locks on your surefire bets of the week. Next week, we'll let you know if we are successful. Will I remain undefeated? Will Okelo start undefeated? And will Riley finally get his first surefire pick of the week correct? That's all the time that we have for today's HTF Bets episode. Thank you, as always, for watching, and we will be back next week live for a new episode of UCF football and other things in the sports world. See you next week.
Catch you later, knuckleheads.